Hey friends, welcome back to the Burn Stress Lose Weight podcast. I'm coming at you in a slightly different background because I have really loved creating content and especially recording this podcast, not in my typical office setup. There's something about just bringing my laptop with me, bringing my podcast mic, either when I'm traveling. I recently recorded the Food Chatter podcast episode in my hotel room when I was on travel. And today I decided I wanted to come to a different part of my house to have another chit chatty style video around a really important, very, very common, almost like a fear that I notice coming up for professional women around the time that they have trying to fit in your goals for your body, trying to hit your weight loss goal, trying to hit your wellness goal with the time that you have. And the fear that I've noticed coming up is I don't want to have to think about this forever. I don't want to be thinking about weight loss as like a second job. I recently literally just came off of our strategy workshop, which we do inside the Unstoppable group, which is my signature 6-month small group coaching program, where we are focusing on burning stress, losing weight, feeling unstoppable inside out through strategies that don't just support your hormone health and make you a fat burner, but really what we're talking about today, it's kind of inspired today's podcast episode, is how to have a strategy that fits your real life so you don't have to keep thinking about this. You don't have to keep overthinking the entire problem. So chit-chatty style, I really want to break this episode down into two, it might become 3 parts. The very first part is why it is that we are spending so much unnecessary, excess, and borderline wasteful time in achieving our dream goals, our body goals, our weight loss goals, all of the goals that you have, your dreams. Why are we spending and wasting a lot of time? We're going to do some math because that's what I love to do. I like to put on the hat of a very playful scientist where we can objectively really look at where you might be wasting a lot of time and then why some of that tendency, and we're going to get into the specific details, why this also doesn't just waste your time, it wastes a lot of bandwidth. A lot of bandwidth is going into like messy strategies that really are not clearly thought out, that are not supporting your wellness and your body. And then the third piece is this very important, very invisible fear that you have around having to think about this forever, having to think about how you eat, having to think about your plan, all of the overthinking, the excess thinking that you're doing that you want to stop doing. We're going to address number 1, why are we doing that? And then the second part of today's podcast episode is going to just share my thoughts, my experience, what I've noticed for me personally in losing a little over 60 pounds as a busy professional woman with 2 young kids and an unpredictable schedule that's full of travel, how I've done that, and also what I have seen when I take a fine-tooth comb through client results that have been literally, they report to me that they are not just consistently losing weight, they don't make imperfection a problem. If they happen to gain a couple of pounds or they go off plan, like they don't have such a dramatic story about it. And then the best part, which is kind of what's even inspiring this podcast episode, is how they have gotten back 10 to 20 hours per week. Let me say that again, 10 to 20 hours per week, because they have incorporated kind of what we're talking about in this episode. So let's just start with, why are we wasting so much time? Why does it feel sometimes like, whoa, like the idea of weight loss might feel like, whoa, I hate it. I always make this like, whoa sound. I remember for so many years, this is like quite a while ago. For so many years, the idea of weight, like I wanted to lose weight and I just wanted to feel better and more comfortable in my body. I wanted to feel better in just my gut. I wanted to just feel better. That's kind of what I wanted. Yeah, I wanted the number 1 scale to come down, but really what I wanted was to feel better. And while I wanted that goal, the idea of the work it would take, like I had a lot of thoughts about what it would take to get there. And that is the part that filled me with dread, the process. So I wanted the goal, but I was not loving the process. I had a lot of very obvious dread because I thought that to lose weight, I had to eat less and just kind of be hungry or deprive myself, or like all of the fad things that you've heard about in the 90s that still is perpetuated today. Like if you count every single calorie you eat to lose all the weight you want. I mean, if we just think about that, it is going to very naturally trigger scarcity. If you think that you have to eat less or count every single calorie or every bite you put into your mouth, if you track every single bite you eat, it's going to fill you with scarcity. So I had that idea many years ago. Before I even started, I felt deprived. Before I even started my journey, I felt fear that maybe I could lose weight, but I don't know that I can keep this up. That was what the fear was. The fear wasn't, can I lose the weight? Actually, the fear was, I can probably do this for short periods of time, but I do not know if I can sustain this forever. And it was that very invisible fear. It was very subconscious. It wasn't very obvious to me. It was just like a thought that I had rumbling around in the corners of my brain, which was, a fear that I don't know that I can make this last forever. And it was because I had that fear that I would very obviously throw in the towel. Like something would come up, life would happen, I would have some travel, some off-plan moment, a date night, a girls' night, and I would just be like, you know what? The invisible thought that was rumbling around in my head, which is this probably wasn't sustainable forever. So I would have a little bit of whatever energy. Listen, if you are listening to this podcast, you are a smart, overachieving professional woman and you literally do hard things all the time. You're a very disciplined person. So discipline has never been the problem. The problem was you likely have had some fear around deprivation, some fear that this is not going to last forever, some fear that what if I gain it back, some fear around the process that really triggered your feelings of scarcity. And I just want to talk about the science of this. When you feel that feeling of scarcity, when you have fear as like a triggered response, the process that you have to do to get to your goal is going to require that you deprive yourself. You're going to release cortisol in your system. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and while in small doses, it is a superhero. It is what drives you into fight or flight when there's a lion outside of the cave. When you're under threat, we want cortisol, right? We want to take very fast action. We want to be able to run and hide, or we want to be able to fight if there's a lion that is attacking us. But what has happened very, very insidiously and very invisibly for many decades is the idea of weight loss when it's attached to scarcity, when it's attached to eating less and counting every point and just full on deprivation, your brain will very naturally have this cortisol trigger. And it's this cortisol trigger that starts to become a low buzzing kind of release in your body all the time. So rather than cortisol, which is again a superhero in small doses for fight and flight, weight loss, achieving your goal, finishing your project at work, solving the next problem, the next big goal you have starts to also become fueled. This is super insidious with cortisol, with that fight flight energy. And you might have kept your fight flight energy because it was very effective for you, or so you thought, like it got you A+ and gold stars. Your fight flight cortisol driven energy got you through maybe medical school or residency, or it got you through that all nighter. It got you to get the gold star and the A+ on that exam. It got you to push really hard and work really hard to get that promotion in the workplace. But what we talk about on this podcast is while you might have gotten a whole spreadsheet full of A+, you don't feel like you're living an A+ life. And that is simply because cortisol and having cortisol driven action was never meant to be the sustainable way that humans were ever meant to live. Yet we are relying on it to push us to take action. So I want to just kind of come back to part one of what I want to even talk about on this episode. And if you really want to know more about cortisol and how to burn stress as you feel better, and you never grabbed my hormones training, where have you been, my friends? I have been talking about this hormones training for months now, but if you never grabbed it, or if you grabbed it and it's just been sitting collecting dust in your email inbox, go and dust it off. You can go and grab it again if you don't know where to find it at burnstressloseweight.com/hormones. Drop your information so I can email you the training. And it is a 30-minute training that walks through the most important hormone pathways, cortisol being one of the most important ones, for why and how you can actually feel better and actually burn stress. Okay, that was my little tangent because I have no notes. We're just doing it chit chat style. So number one, the very first reason that you will be overthinking and spending a lot of time in start-stop energy, you will start your weight loss journey, you will start your body recomposition journey, you will start trying to achieve that next massive dream goal, but you'll stop because there is a part of your brain that is experiencing fear. Fear in the process that you're going to deprive yourself of real rest, real care. And I don't care what anyone says. I'm just going to say this right here. If your nutrition strategy is not supporting your hormone health, if you're not getting enough high quality nutrition, your fear makes a lot of sense. If you've been trying to calorie count your way and feeling perpetually hungry to lose weight, your fear makes a lot of sense. We cannot argue with that. Let's not try to thought work your way out of it. Let's not try to change your thoughts, because we have to address the very real fear. Part of your brain is like, she's not going to give me enough. She might keep me hungry. She deprived me in the past. She might deprive me again. And so there's a part of you, and we're going to talk about this in part two, that has to actually go back and really make a personal promise that you will never do that to yourself again. So reason number one that you will ever overthink your strategy, you will spend excess amounts of time making a plan and then remaking it and then making a plan or second guessing it, is because an insidious part of your brain is feeling fear that your rest, your care, your body is actually not going to get its needs met. This is very, very real. It's very normal and we have to address it. So fear is the number one reason. And because I like to do math, and I've shared this statistic before on the podcast, it blows my mind every time for myself, and I hope it blows your mind. If you spend even 5 minutes per waking hour feeling some dread around your weight loss strategy, if you spend even 5 minutes per waking hour questioning your plan, if you spend even 5 minutes per waking hour wondering, should I eat this or should I eat that? Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. Should I, should I not? I don't know if I can. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. What if I gain it back? If you spend 5 minutes per waking hour with these types of low currency thoughts, we talked about low currency thoughts on the podcast a few episodes ago. Go back and take a listen. But if you spend even 5 minutes with low currency thoughts that are dripping in disbelief and doubt, you're spending 9.3 hours per week and 485 hours per year in disbelief and doubt. And so for anyone, and this is if you're sleeping 8 hours per night, which I don't know that you are. I don't know that you are sleeping 8 hours per night. If you are, I mean, like, kudos to you, and please tell me your ways because I'm really trying really hard to start sleeping more. It's been really hard, but okay, I digress. 5 minutes per waking hour, if you are sleeping 8 hours per night, is costing you 9.3 hours per week. And if we just took that time and we repurposed it, if you didn't have to spend that time overthinking or feeling fear or having doubt or disbelief in yourself and in your plan, I want you to imagine how much time you would get back. This is how my clients get back 10 hours plus per week when they go through this process. So reason number one, you have fear. Reason number two, and this is super important to acknowledge, and we need to I want to like shine a bright light on it because we want to not let this just sit invisibly in your mind, is you have doubts about your ability to be successful. If you are here, you have likely tried to lose weight before. You likely have a mountain of evidence that you couldn't lose weight sustainably. You probably have lost weight before, but you've gained it back, right? So you have a mountain of evidence of, see, it didn't work last time, or see, last time I gained it back, or I lost weight, but I gained it back. We have so many 3C stories, very dramatic stories that are convincing, convenient, and very compelling to make you feel doubt. Remember, the emotion of doubt that you have about your capabilities and your capacity to achieve this goal is not actually because of your results. Your results on the scale, your gain back that happened over the last month or the last year is not the reason that you feel doubt. It is your thoughts about your results, your thoughts about the fact that you might have gained weight back last time or that it didn't work last time. It's your thoughts about yourself. Your thoughts are creating your feelings of doubt. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can just change your thoughts because yes, of course you can. And that's an incredibly powerful tool. But what's, I think, much more important is to learn how to let yourself feel doubt. You don't have to be totally confident, completely clear in Yoda mode to achieve your goal. You don't have to be completely clear and certain and confident to take action. So this is the second thing that is wasting a lot of time for especially smart women. And this is going to be you because smart women don't like to feel doubt. I remember as a physician, feeling doubt and uncertainty is just not a part of that's not a part of the job application. If you are a physician, I remember you're not going to go into the OR or treat your patient from a place of doubt and uncertainty. So it's really normal as a professional woman if a very normal part of your brain has turned doubt and uncertainty and that fear into some villain that has to go away completely before you take action. This will hold back dream results for you. So while your doubt makes sense in the OR and your fear and your uncertainty, like you want to address your doubts, your fears, uncertainties before you take care of a patient, it doesn't need to hold you back in taking action in your life, especially with weight loss. So the second reason that you are likely overthinking or wasting a lot of time is you have very normal thoughts, which is, ooh, I couldn't do it last time. What if I can't do it this time? Just a whiffy, a what if, whiffy. What if I gain it back? What if it doesn't work? What if I put in all my effort and it doesn't last? Like, why bother, right? We have these kinds of sentences in our brain. They're an invisible soundtrack. I want you to start catching your 3C stories, convenient, convincing, and compelling stories that are so normal. You get to have them. I'm not going to snatch them away, but I want you to just realize what happens when you let them run your life. You have the thought, what if I gain it back? What if it doesn't work? What if I can't do it? What if, what if, what if? You feel the feeling of doubt or uncertainty, feel a flicker of nervousness. And usually in this moment, when you don't realize it, you take your foot off the gas. This is that moment that you start saying, you know what? Why bother? You take your foot off the gas. This is that moment that you will say, you know what? Maybe not this time. Maybe I should wait until I feel more clear. Maybe I should wait until I feel a little bit more confident. Maybe I should wait until I feel a little bit more certain. Instead of spending that exact amount of time just taking action on doing what you said, you start questioning yourself. You start going down another research rabbit hole. You go down another, let me download another webinar. Let me go to another class. Let me download more content. Let me passively consume and learn more information. Because again, as a student, learning information, passively consuming content feels more productive than taking action. And this is why your brain will do this. It wants to just keep your status quo. It's like, let's just learn a little bit more. It feels better. Let me just do that workbook again. Let me just do those modules again. So I want you to catch the second reason that you will overthink, the second reason that you will overspend time in not creating results, the second reason that you will feel a lot of drag in your weight loss journey is you're making your doubts a problem, your uncertainties a problem. And when we do this, your very normal brain will start going into rumination mode. It's like what creates a lot of anxiety, because when you have doubt and uncertainty and you feel like you have to be completely certain to take action, guess what your brain does? It starts thinking and then overthinking. It'll keep you up at night because you cannot stop your brain from thinking. The reality is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know if you're going to get results 100%. Like you can't actually know because we don't have a crystal ball. I can tell you, I can share with you my experience and what clients experience when they go through the process. I can share with you my complete confidence and belief that you are 1,000,000% capable of achieving your dream goals, your dream body goals, but you can't actually know until you do it. I just want to recap the two reasons you are most likely overthinking or spending a lot of hundreds of hours per year in the overthinking phase is you have fear that your process is either not going to work, or you have fear that your process is going to leave you feeling deprived and scarce because you've likely done that in the past. Or number two, because you have very normal doubt, like what if it doesn't work? Fear. You're just afraid of being disappointed later. And when we allow that fear of disappointment, the fear of failure, the fear that we're not going to be taken care of drive us without addressing those fears like concretely, we guarantee failure. Right? We guarantee frustration. We don't take action. The mountain of evidence gets even bigger. So this leads me to the second part of today's podcast episode, which is how do you stop overthinking your plan? How do you stop making weight loss like it feels like a second job? How do you start to really create a feeling of ease so that this is not overtaking your life? The very first one, and this is huge, and this is going to, I like to say it like this because it just like, I don't know, it feels humorous to me and I hopefully humorous to you. It's going to tickle the irritation centers of your brain. You have to stop being indecisive. I know that this is hard to do, especially if making decisions around nutrition has felt scary for you because again, you have fear that you're going to deprive yourself. So we have to start with, this is the entire thing. We have to make a personal promise. You have to go back and forgive yourself that you've ever done that to yourself in the past. I promise I will never do that to myself again. If I'm hungry, I promise I will eat. Can we just start with that personal promise? If I'm hungry, I promise I will eat. I will not actually deprive myself. And this leads me to making, I call these magic action decisions. I've been talking about this on the podcast now for a little while because when you make magic action decisions, I call them magic because making a few key decisions around your nutrition, around guilt-free rest that's not reliant on snacking, scrolling, and drinking is going to create 80% of the results you have in your life as a professional woman and on the scale. So step one to get out of overthinking, to stop making this feel like it's perpetually on your mind, is we have to make very clear, very decisive decisions. When I say decisive decisions, what I mean is not like, let's see decisions. Let's see decisions are like, we kind of make a decision, but then in the invisible back part of your mind is like, but we'll see how we feel. Let's just see how it goes. Like, I'll see if I'm in the mood tomorrow. It's basically like you're giving yourself an out before you've even started. These decisions have to come from a place that feels incredibly loving. They have to be based in science. So you actually have to give yourself enough food, give yourself enough rest. Like truly, this is the key. If you don't have a good plan, your fear is going to make a lot of sense to throw in the towel. So you have to have decisive decisions that guarantee magic action decisions that are decisive, that are coming from science, but also coming from real care for you, taking care of your brain, taking care of your body. And the way that I want you to think about these decisions moving forward, they should feel like non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Like you have to become the fiercest advocate of your decisions. It's like, imagine that your kid was waiting for you at the bus stop and there was nobody there to pick them up. Like, would you ever leave your kid waiting at the bus stop? Decisively, the answer is no. You're going to pick your kid up no matter what. Just like that, you have to think about your future self at her dream goals, dream ideal weight, feeling her best, having the most energy, feeling the most rested, Like, I want you to just imagine that. That's worth it for you. If having that result is worth it for you, your decisions have to feel decisive, which takes me to the second part, which is your doubt. You're going to have the very normal flickers of doubt and uncertainty of what if? What if? What if? Don't make that a problem anymore. This is where I talk to my clients about this. When you feel the flicker of doubt of like, what if it doesn't work? Normal, nothing is wrong. You have a normal, messy human brain that's just scanning for all your what ifs. Do not let this be your excuse to take your foot off the gas. So the way that you do this is you actually catch your 3C story in real time. You just have to catch the thought. This is just me telling myself a very common, very familiar sentence. Have a little bit of compassion that your brain is just trying to protect you from disappointment. It's not a problem. It's literally normal. It's designed for your survival. And also, two things can be true. You can take action anyway. When you do this one piece where you let yourself feel the flicker of doubt, you catch your story. It's just a thought that I'm telling myself. My doubt is not a problem. It's not actually, nothing has happened. There's nothing actually there for me to feel doubt about. Keep your foot on the gas. So the decisions that you made, those decisive decisions that you made, do them anyway, even when you feel doubt. Even when you feel a little afraid, even when you feel uncertain, do what you said. And on the other side of that, when you do that piece again and again and again, when you learn that making decisive decisions that care for proper body health, you're giving yourself enough food, when you know that your rest is guaranteed, non-negotiable, you will change your life. You'll change your whole life. And when I say non-negotiable, I'm saying like it might be inconvenient. Listen, achieving whatever goal you have, whether it's a professional goal or a body goal, might be inconvenient at times. Just like picking your kid up at the bus stop is inconvenient at times. I'm not trying to say that this has to be kumbaya easy all the time. It might be inconvenient. Let it be inconvenient. Your future self deserves that much regard. Your future self deserves your inconvenience. Let it be inconvenience, not a problem. When I take a fine-tooth comb over my personal fails that I've had over the last few years, which I've shared very forthcomingly on this podcast, I realized that I would let inconveniences drive me to cancel myself. I'm like, you know what? It's kind of inconvenient. And I would kind of be in my, like, I need to feel completely calm and completely in flow to take action. I need to be completely comfortable to take action. And I would just take my foot off the gas. So I think it's so important to acknowledge that your fears are very normal. They're the reason that you will really question whether this plan is sustainable for a lifetime. You have to answer that rhetorical question. If your plan has been crap in the past, if you've been eating 5 calories and canned green beans and like that's been your way of eating, we have to address your plan at the root. But once you have a plan, this is one of my favorite parts about the Unstoppable group is you get equal parts science and strategy. We talk about how to eat in a way that supports your hormone health, that really supports like your real life as a busy professional. And then we build it into your real life. That's magic action structure. Like how do you take those decisions and plug them into your real life as a busy physician? I loved when Kara came on the podcast a few weeks ago. She's a busy physician, 4 kids, after school activities, OBGYN on call, unpredictable. She shared how she solved her overwhelm. She was having so much overwhelm and a total lack of planning, which was wasting so many hours of time while she wasn't hitting goals. Like just this process of making clear, decisive decisions that support your health and make you feel good is the gateway to unlocking sustainable results. But we have to take into account the second piece that you're going to have doubts. They're so normal. You're going to have some flickers of, I don't know if I can. What if I gain it back? Keep your foot on the gas, my friends. I'm telling you, you can do it. And every time you do that, every time you keep your foot on the gas and you create that next micro win, here's what happens. You start to develop self-trust again. You start to develop that confidence again. You start to create that momentum that you have been wanting. And the beauty of momentum is that is what swings you through the inconvenient times. It's summer vacation. You better believe that I am traveling and I want to spend time with my kids and I want to also be here for the podcast and I want to still deliver content to you while I'm off and taking time off with my family. So me doing the things that I love doing, me having the goals that I have requires that things are going to be inconvenient at times. It means I have to delegate things. I have to say no to things. Sometimes I have to do B- work. Like I didn't prepare notes for this podcast. Usually I have notes for my podcast, right? But this podcast is B-. I think it's kind of an A+, but let's just say B- because I don't have my notes because we have to decide that just doing it messy, letting it be imperfect, not having a dramatic story that it might not work, to keep our foot on the gas is how we create results. I can keep going on and on. I actually have lots of podcast episodes on this. So I hope that this podcast episode was helpful to just drop in the idea that your fear, if you've ever had a fear around your weight loss process and your strategy, it makes a lot of sense. We have to actually answer for that. And the second part is if you have a plan with decisive decisions, it's not enough to just make those decisions. We have to act on them and take action on them on a daily basis, even when it's inconvenient. Don't let your flickers of doubt and uncertainty keep your foot off the gas. Just those two things will save you at least 10 hours per week, probably more, because I have a feeling you're not sleeping 8 hours and I have a feeling you're thinking about this for more than 5 minutes per hour, even if you're thinking about it in the background, right? Even if you're thinking about should I or shouldn't I? It's that negotiation that is wasting your real, like actually wasting so many hours of your life. So I hope this episode just planted a seed of possibility for you and feels kind of like a little roadmap for how to stop overthinking as you achieve your goals. It starts with decisive decisions, investing. You do have to invest a little bit of time and a little bit of thinking power at the start to make those decisions, and then just taking action even when you feel a little uncomfortable, even when you have the doubt, even when you have the uncertainty. And I forgot to tell you, I mentioned it recently on the podcast. If you want to take what we are talking about on this podcast and put it into your real life, there are a few ways that we can work together. The very first one, of course, is the Unstoppable group. This is my 6-month small group coaching program. We recently closed our enrollment for the summer cohort, but if you want to get yourself ready for the next cohort, which is going to be in October, then you can head over to burnstressloseweight.com/group. You can get all the nuts, the bolts, the details for how to prepare yourself mentally for the most life-changing experience so you can lose weight, burn stress, literally feel unstoppable with everything we talk about on this podcast. But there is one more way that if you wanted to just really zhuzh up how you are feeling on the inside out as a busy professional, there's one more way that we can actually work together, and that is at my retreat. I have barely talked about this retreat. It is happening in Cabo, Mexico, October 2nd to the 5th. The reason I haven't talked about it much on the podcast is because it is basically sold out. We were able to snap up 2 to 3 more rooms that, just because the interest for this retreat has been so lovely and we've had such amazing interest in it that I wanted to grab a couple of more rooms so that I could share them with all of you. I know that there are many, many women who are listening to this podcast where you just really want to have a trip that is solely focused on you. It is solely focused on unlocking your dreams, unlocking feeling your best. This retreat is truly going to be a life-changing experience. We're going to collapse the timeline on you feeling better. Something about live in-person events really does take transformation to the next level. And I have been to many retreats and in-person events, and I have personally experienced that. So I'm bringing the best of my many travels into this retreat. It is an all-inclusive experience. So from the moment that you get to the amazing adults only boutique hotel to the moment that you leave, everything is going to be taken care of. All of your meals, all of the coaching, everything is taken care of for you. And it's one of those experiences where you're not going to be sitting in lectures from 9 to 5 where you feel just like fatigued at the end. The way that I have designed this retreat is going to be mornings that are full of coaching and workshopping. We have an agenda for every single day of the entire event. And then the afternoon is designed to really rest and integrate everything you've learned and have conversations with other like-minded women who are also going to be there to also unlock really feeling their best. And my favorite part about this retreat, there's lots of things, but my next favorite part about this retreat is that we're going to have post-retreat integration coaching calls. So everything you learn at the retreat, you're going to get to bring back to your real life, and you get coaching afterwards so that we make sure that it's a plan that really fits your real life. So you can get all those details over at burnstressloseweight.com/retreat. Has all the nuts, the bolts, the details. And if you're interested in claiming a ticket, there's a button that says claim my ticket. It will ask you to answer a few questions so that I'll make sure that it's a good fit for you. And I will reach out to you if we have a room left available. Again, it is almost sold out. If you're at all interested, if you've been wanting something just for you, if you're a medical professional, it is CME accredited. So you can get CME units, CME credit for really prioritizing yourself in a really amazing and serious way. It's going to be the exact purposeful pause that you have been wanting, and we get to meet in real life. So if that's at all something interesting to you, then head over to burnstressloseweight.com/retreat, and I will see you all for real at the next one. Bye.